Hello guys, it's me Paulina again. This is part 2 of my foster care life. In this video we'll be talking into detail about my first 3 years in foster care. I hope my experience helps anybody out there, and please reach out if you want to. Thank you for watching. Alrighty guys, so I'm gonna start off by talking about the night that everything happened and the night that we got taken away. This is gonna be a little bit difficult for me, and if you see a bunch of clips just being edited in and out, it's just because sometimes I get emotional, but we should be fine. I should be able to get through this. So the night that we got taken away, it all started at 3 o'clock in the morning, around there. It was around in May in 2003. And I just remember a really loud knock at the door. And my mom, she basically said, don't open it, because if you open it, they'll take you away from me. And we were all scared, you know. We were all really scared because she's all we knew, you know. And so, you know, they knocked, and they eventually broke the door down. They grabbed my mom's body, slammed her to the floor. And after my mom being in handcuffs, there was a social worker that ended up walking into our house and ended up taking me, my sister, and my 2 brothers to a van that they eventually drove to a shelter. And getting to the shelter, it was like around, I want to say like 4 or 5 in the morning. We were so used to all sleeping in the same mattress, so it was really hard for us because they didn't want my brothers to sleep with us girls. And either way, like if it was me and my sister, they didn't even want me and my sister to sleep in the same bed. But if you could imagine, you know, being taken away from your house, from your mom, and now, you know, like you're being forced to separate and separate again from your siblings, and you know, it's just something new that you didn't ask to be, and you didn't ask for that situation, you know. So it was really tough for us. After being there a couple days and kind of getting to know the shelter and the staff, we eventually ended up getting separated. My brothers went to a foster home together. My sister ended up going to a foster home by herself, and I ended up alone. So it was really tough because I went from being separated from my whole family, where the food is different, everything's different, and I had no say-so into it. So after letting my social worker know how it made me feel being in a home that I felt like I didn't fit in, she eventually placed me and my sister in a home together. And I felt really lucky because it was a Mexican household. They spoke Spanish, you know, she made food, similar food to that my mom made. So it was an environment that I was very used to, so I loved it, you know. So they asked me, do you want to move in with your sister? And I said yeah. You know, I was very excited. I couldn't wait because, you know, I couldn't wait to be placed in the same foster home as my sister, you know. So moving in with my sister, you know, a year passed by. You know, it was a really good year. I was just happy to go to school, and you know, even like to back to school nights, you know, my foster mom would go, and she looked like me, you know. So it was a very, like, I felt so proud, like, you know, like this is my mom. And I called her mom, and my foster dad, you know, I called him dad, and my sister did too. And it just felt like I had a family, you know. And after a while living there, you know, I think I just got comfortable, you know, and I felt like they were my family, and that they weren't going to give up on me, and that they're going to love me regardless, you know, of how whatever I do, you know, they're still going to care about me, you know. So I felt so fortunate. So after a while of living there for like about 2.5 years, I started kind of being rebellious, and one night I snuck out of my foster parents' home. I told them that I was gonna go throw the trash away, and I ended up walking down the street to my friend's house. And eventually my foster parents called the cops, and the cops went to my friend's house. They eventually found me and they took me home, and so I ended up expressing to my social worker how I didn't like it there, and so I eventually moved from that foster home to a different foster home. And now I'm in my third placement, and this placement is with a Cambodian couple. They had, before I got there, they already had three other foster kids. So they had 2 little boys and a little girl, and they had a little baby themselves. So being there for a while, I would say I was there for maybe like around 6-7 months. We celebrated, I believe it was Chinese New Year's with them. We celebrated Christmas with them. They gave us really good Christmas presents. They were really nice people, you know. But there was an incident that, you know, separated us from that foster home. And, okay, getting to the incident that got me taken away from my Cambodian foster parents. I'm not sure when it happened. I know it was around the school year, because we would get tutored at our foster care agency. So our social workers at the agency would give us tutoring lessons after school. So our foster parents would basically pick us up from school off at the agency, at the foster agency. So as we're all talking, you know, our social worker would basically go around and ask us, like, how was your day yesterday, you know, or your day at school today? And so we would go around the table and we would all, like, talk about, you know, our day and how it went. So I got to my foster brother, and my foster brother started, so he was like, oh, you know, my day at school sucked. And yesterday I was duct taped to a chair by Kevin. And Kevin was our foster dad. And honestly, because I think it's because I came from an abusive household that I wasn't really sure, you know, like what to do. That when she turned around and asked me, you know, Paulina, did he really get duct taped to a chair? I told her, well, yeah, you know, like he did get duct taped to a chair. So after our social worker hearing us out and hearing the story, she basically called our foster parents and confirmed the story. And a couple hours later, she ended up bringing our belongings in trash bags. And we would end up leaving that agency with a whole new family. And I mean, we were kids. We were so scared. Now, leaving my Cambodian family and going into a new placement, that would be my 4th placement, into a foster home that I was familiar with, which they were Mexican American. So it made it very easy for me to transition into their household. So I really liked my 4th placement. Hey guys, so I wanted to end the video right here. This is going into my 4th placement. I am around 13, and this is where I get a little bit rebellious and a little bit, you know, hot-headed. So I hope you guys stay tuned.